However, the most intelligent inhabitants of that future world won't be men or monkeys. They'll be machines, the remote descendants of today's computers. Now, the present-day electronic brains are complete morons, but this will not be true in another generation. They will start to think, and eventually they will completely outthink their makers. Is this depressing? I don't see why it should be. We superseded the Cro-Magnon and Neanderthal men, and we presume we're an improvement. I think we should regard it as a privilege to be stepping stones to higher things. I suspect that organic or biological evolution has about come to its end, and we are now at the beginning of inorganic or mechanical evolution, which will be thousands of times swifter.
Now let's guess, which one of the two is he connected to? Co-writer of 2001 A Space Odyssey, so it all starts with the monolith. And the movie also ends with the monolith. So let's take a look what they are telling us. You have mankind dying. Let's zoom in on the monolith. You have the moon, the bigger Earth, because there are no continents on it. And then you see another ball with a child in it, with bigger eyes. But first, let's take a look at another parasitic race. Let's take a look at the spider and the larva. You have the consciousness of the spider, but you have also the consciousness of the larva. That creates duality. Now there are two possibilities. The consciousness of the spider detects the larva and kills it off, or the consciousness of the larva is undetected and it kills off the spider.
I think we should regard it as a privilege to be stepping stones to higher things.
So Arthur is suggesting we should all give in and play the food source of a higher being. Well, it's clear that Arthur has thrown off his organic brain. It's my suspicion that the dinosaur stands for the organic brain, the cerebellum. In the word cerebellum, you hear the word bellum. Bellum means war in Latin. You also hear the caraba. So I think these similarities have been put in there to keep you away from this part of the brain. It's evil. It's the reptilian brain. So Arthur surrendered himself completely to the pineal gland system. Sir Arthur Clarke, if you want to destroy a system, you always need traitors from within. In order to stay away from attention, you need complete secrecy. Secret societies. Shh. Don't tell anyone about this invading consciousness. That makes of the Freemasons, of course, first-class traitors. Let's take a look at the word Freemason. You have the spirit of Ra, the Fa of Ra, in the Solomon system. You can simplify Solomon into Mon, Sun, Moon and Sun. So Pharaoh becomes free and Monson becomes Mason. In France they still say franc-maçon, franc, Pharaoh. The Freemasons, of course, are very eager to put you on a little blue ball flying in space. If this parasitic system is indeed a ball flying in space, how would it look like? Would it be something like this? But why are they creating this little blue ball? It doesn't make sense, except if you start thinking in craters. What if the parasite was living in another crater? Let's say you want to terraform a crater, but you hate water and oxygen. So you send in a supercomputer, God. God starts recreating the firmament, divides the waters, and recreates the home of the parasite, Atlantis. But God also needs boots on the ground. God convinces the most stupid animal of the crater to follow its orders. The word of thought. Now the humans start building the home of the parasite. Welcome to the machine. So where is this going to end?
I think we should regard it as a privilege to be stepping stones to higher things.
Well, if it is a higher thing, why is it deceiving us? But let's go back to the cerebellum, the place they want us to stay away from. One of my viewers suggested I should take a look at the Museum of Pop Culture. So I did, and that brought me to the Space Needle in Seattle. Next to it I very quickly noticed the labyrinth, but when you take a look at the whole site, you will notice it's another motherboard construction. A recreation of our brain. The pineal gland and the thalamus. The Tower of Sauron and Mount Doom. Next to Mount Doom you have the MK Ultra mind control symbol, the butterfly. And in a side view you see our little dinosaur friend. But the most important part, of course, is the cerebellum. Let's take a look. Take a look again at the shape. And now the shape of the building. Zoom in on the building, and on top of it you see an artwork. Now take a cross section of the cerebellum and tell me it's all a coincidence. take another Google Maps surrounding view and you can see that the cerebellum has been completely distorted. Coincidence? But hey, wait, what do I see there? Let's zoom in. So what's in this building? The Institute for Disease Modeling. What on earth would you be modeling diseases for? Rah rah rah. And how would this system work? Maybe like this? Let's take a look again at the Space Needle. A year later you had the destruction of the Twin Towers. Both buildings have a very strange aura around them. You have the 9/11 and you have the 3/11. Remember this guy? But do you know this one?
All right, our next speaker is James Home. He has what school did you graduate from?
Westview High School?
He just graduated from Westview High School and will be attending the University of California, Riverside. He will be majoring in neuroscience. His goals are to become a researcher and to make scientific discoveries.
And a major way humans learn is through action and effect relationships. And to simulate this on a computer, we have a key press as an action, and effect is the appearance of an image. And actions and effects have logical progressions through time. That is, effects proceed or seem simultaneous with the actions that cause them, unless we have a temporal order judgment reversal, which I just call the illusion. And in the illusion, the effect seems to precede the action that it causes. So subjectively, you're causing events to happen in the past. And to implement this illusion, we insert a series of gradual delays in between the actions and the effects. So we'd have a key press, and then a 10 millisecond delay, and then an image appearing, and then a key press, and then 20 millisecond, and then an image appears. And we keep doing this over and over again. And it would increase up to around 200 milliseconds. And we do this gradual delay incrementations to adapt the person to modify their perception of time. And then after we modify their perception of time, we completely remove the delay, and this causes the time illusion. And potential applications for this illusion are in reducing car accidents. And it might be possible to increase the reaction times of drivers.
Or maybe increase reaction time of football players.
Two wonderful pieces of skill. First from Iniesta, then we see Leo.
Per la dreta per Xavi, assistència de Xavi més cap a la dreta per Messi, Messi, immens Messi, encara 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 Messi, gol, 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 gol.
Any questions?
Yes, James, why are you making that strange movement on your shoulder?
Unless we have a temporal order judgment reversal. Temporal order judgment reversal. Temporal order judgment reversal. Any questions?
Well, yes, James. We know that television can create a delay in time. And you said...
And in the illusion, the effect seems to precede the action that it causes. So subjectively, you're causing events to happen in the past.
You create events in the past. Subjectively. So that means it's not real. So this animation would have been made after the election of Trump. But for some reason we saw it in the year 2000. What about this one? The Mandela effect. Let's have an example. In the year 2000, the VW sign is black, and in 2015 they change it into red. But in the year 2000, because of this delay, you perceive the black VW as being red. That would mean that we would perceive certain events 15 years ahead of them really happening. So now we are in 2015 and the delay drops away. So at that moment you say, hey, I remember VW being black. It would be useful, of course, to know which events are presenting themselves ahead of time.
The outcome of the CAPS pandemic in Event 201 was catastrophic. 65 million people died in the first 18 months. The outbreak was small at first and initially seemed controllable, but then it started spreading in densely crowded and impoverished neighborhoods of megacities.
What if some people thought that this was a predictive moment? So Bill thought it was his lucky day. It was going to happen, finally.
Any questions?
Well, yeah, James, it's something you said on your trial. Let's listen.
For the people in the theater, his targets.
What do people feel when they're experiencing that?
Terror, I would say.
Okay.
He called what he did a mission. How did he want to be remembered?
As mentally ill or different from the norm.
How else?
Being successful with the mission.
The mission? That reminds me of the movie 12 Monkeys, where a guy is going back in time trying to stop a virus from being released. But this guy is called James Cole. Now let's presume that the movie 12 Monkeys was a predictive moment. Let's presume that James Holmes is doing some experiments with his technique and he discovers a future event. Someone wants to exterminate a large part of the human race and only he can stop it. Now he becomes the leading role in a situation he created himself by looking into the future. Maybe he had to go back to the future to repair the situation. "12 monkeys, 12 zodiac signs. That reminds me of the moon. The key is in the moon. Remember from a previous video that the 30 moon phases that are actually a month we experience in reality as one day. So we experience a day 30 times faster than the clock is showing us. Are we living in the future? And is reality bleeding through in the form of the past? Or are we living in the past and is reality bleeding through the future? Let's take a look again at this image of the 12 monkeys with a red and a blue camera. That reminds me of the intro of The Prisoner. We are the prisoners. And I think it's all about the eyes, left brain, right brain. And the village, our crater, our brain, is the prison. Take a look at this scene. The lights are two squares and in the center the Eye of Ra, the counter-rotating pyramid system. The circle is clearly a reference to our crater, the V shape, the rings of Atlantis. In this black ball sits Osiris, or Satan, or the architect. And the architect is watching while the prisoner is being tortured by ISIS, the white ball. Then you have this scene, which is very interesting. Two guys in black are sitting on a pendulum, looking through some kind of telescope. I think this is left brain and right brain, and the two guys are the eyes. Here you see the CMYK, symbol of black and Osiris. In my view, this is the prison. The way they are mesmerizing our brain. Let's take a look at television. I think that television is a copy of the Solomon system. Sun, moon, red, blue, day, night. The RGB system is bringing us in a trance. Well, what about black and white? The sun is white and the moon is black. That gives us the checkerboard motif. Now you get a system in a system. The first Solomon system is television, telling you what to do, and television is part of the other system, the other controller. That creates a reality in a reality. The first prison is the two squares, and inside prison 1 you have prison 2. But who are the controllers in prison 2? Some of the slaves decided they wanted to be slave master, so they created a new prison. In this new prison they created a TV reality. A constant torture of our perception. You don't have to look far, of course, for the people who are responsible for this. This prison reminded me of Alcatraz, or the Escape from New York prison. The first prison is the island, our crater, or what's left of it, probably controlled by some extraterrestrial life form. And the second prison on the island, controlled by the ghetto police. Both are using mind control systems, and this gives you a time frame in a time frame. No wonder people are getting confused. Before I go, let me bring your attention to the channel Rise Above Live, or Double LMC, Lance and Andy, big supporters of my channel, driving force Lance with some artwork, some memes, some music and videos. So I want to end this video with a meme of them, the Soviet Union. See you next time, bye!
Bye.